No speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on.
Pick up the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah,
Gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need.
Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting. A movement of people, it's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the poor where the prisons is. I was so good, life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, I best align.
Shine, flies, no time, passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days at midnight marauders, even through charges and days of darkness. No, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They could be bridges that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us. So we got the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia, who galvanize so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
We're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, your host and White House correspondent. Not at the White House. Not today. Not today. Here in sunny LA with each and every one of you in afternoon drive time. Look, I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nicordelai. Just type in Dr. Niq, DRNIIQ. And there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or just tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580 because we're fancy like that. And last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never miss an episode. Now, we have a very special call to action. I know so many of my friends and family and colleagues in D.C. are still reeling from the federal occupation. I guess there's no other way to call it. Federal occupation in Washington, D.C. And as we mention every single show, do what you can from where you are with what you have. That means organize. And that's exactly what is happening in Washington, D.C. The D.C. Community Organizing Festival is happening on Saturday, September 6th from 12 to 4 p.m. at the University of the District of Columbia. Partners like Black Swan Academy, DC Action, DC Vote, Fair Budget Coalition, Free DC, and more orgs are coming together to organize. Free food, free entry for all ages. All you got to do is you can go to Fair Budget DC on Instagram, at Fair Budget DC on Instagram. You can also go to Rising Organizers on Instagram and get all the information, get the link to sign up. But by all means, RSVP. We know that this gathering of 20 grassroots organizations, they are ready to connect, they're ready to learn, they're ready to take action. And already 300 folks have registered to participate in this. And so it's your time to join in and build relationships with people who share your vision for a just and democratic DC. You can learn practical skills and discover local campaigns and organizations you can plug into right now. So a lot of people wondering, what can I do right now? This is what you can do. This is what you can do right now. Go to Rising Organizers on Instagram and RSVP for the DC Community Organizing Festival this Saturday, next Saturday, September 6th at the University of the District of Columbia. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off, ABC News is reporting that DC students head back to school amid Trump's law enforcement surge. That's right. Despite more than 2,000 National Guards troops authorized by President Trump's crackdown on crime, I should say so-called crackdown on crime, Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser said that students in the nation's capital will not be aided by their presence as children return to school this week. The school year begins as Mayor Bowser and the Office of the State Superintendent of Education tout proficiency rates in English language arts literacy and math are the highest since prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. And the ELA proficiency rate is the highest on record. And so this is important to note. There are a lot of folks out there that want to make it seem like DC is this crime-ridden city and that the schools are absolutely terrible and the students aren't learning a thing. I dig what Mayor Bowser and leaders on the ground, grassroots leaders on the ground in DC are doing. They're offering a counter narrative. And they're saying, actually, this is what the facts say. Facts say that violent crime is down in DC. They're also saying that test scores are up in DC when it comes to English language arts and math. In fact, the highest since prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we're going to make sure that we do our part to correct the record, because there are a lot of folks out there spreading mis and disinformation. And here at KBLA, we say not on our watch when it comes to that kind of stuff. Moving along, the New York Times reporting that FEMA employees are warning that Trump is gutting disaster response. Employees at the Federal Emergency Management Agency, they wrote to Congress today warning that the Trump administration had reversed much of the progress made in disaster response and recovery since Hurricane Katrina pummeled the Gulf Coast 2 decades ago. The letter to Congress, titled Katrina Declaration, rebuked President Trump's plan to drastically scale down FEMA and shift more responsibility for disaster response and more cost. That's right, you guessed it, to the states. It came just days after the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, one of the deadliest and costliest storms to ever strike the United States. Look, I'm saying, folks, anybody who will hear me, pay attention to what's happening with FEMA. Because at some point, if it's not you, it's going to be a family member in some part of the country or somebody you know, they're going to need FEMA to deliver against its mission. They're going to need FEMA resources. And right now, FEMA is experiencing the death of 1,000 cuts. And a lot of what we have relied on FEMA to do will be privatized. if we keep going at this rate, it will be privatized. And so what's going to happen when that next wildfire hits? What's going to happen when that next earthquake hits? What's going to happen when that next hurricane or tornado hits? There are large parts of the country where FEMA is the closest people have to any kind of insurance. In a lot of parts of the country, FEMA, that whatever little bit of emergency money that FEMA gives, right? That's all some folks are going to get. You know how many people are displaced every year by natural disasters? I don't need to tell the people of LA what that experience is like. The folks in Altadena, the folks in the Palisades, they understand that and are living that right now and wouldn't wish it upon anybody else. If this administration is successful with cutting FEMA resources, that's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for us. It's not going to be good for our neighbors. It's not going to be good for our country. Finally, the Chicago Tribune is reporting that as President Trump appears to waffle on National Guard in Chicago, Governor J.B. Pritzker says, do not come. That's right. President Trump appeared to waver today on whether he would attempt to deploy National Guard's troops to Chicago, saying that Governor J.B. Pritzker should be asking for the help, a request that the second-term Democrat has made clear isn't forthcoming. And so everybody's on high alert as to whether or not Trump is going to do it, and if he's going to do it, when he's going to do it, and more importantly, what will Governor Pritzker of Illinois, what will the mayor of Chicago do in response? We are following this very closely, and as this story develops, we'll be sure to bring you expert insight and analysis, as well as a sense of how we can tap in and support people on the ground who are pushing back. When we come forward, I'm delighted to welcome back to the show a More Perfect Union contributor, immigration law expert, Alan Orr. He's founder of Orr Immigration Law, and we really enjoy having him on to help us separate the fact from the fiction. We know that today, LA and 30 other sanctuary jurisdictions experienced a rare victory in the courts. We're going to talk about that. Plus, Trump signs an executive order aimed at ending cashless bail in D.C. and across the nation. We're going to get Alan Orr's reaction to those trending news topics and more. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431, and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready to be a part of the conversation that will help shape our nation's future? Get ready to join us for the Left Coast Forum, Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech, where progressive voices will come together to tackle the issues that matter most to working families across Los Angeles and beyond. From economic justice to climate action, from healthcare to housing, we're bringing together the brightest minds and most passionate advocates for real solutions and real change. With workshops, 2 major keynote addresses, and a closing reception with great music and good food. It's the Left Coast Forum, where your voice matters and your ideas take action. Saturday, October 25th at LA Trade Tech. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the LA Progressive. The future won't wait, and neither should you. Mark your calendar now to be there and be heard. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details.
Hit me!
National news, the consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, and always a pleasure to welcome my friend, my brother, Alan Orr. He is the founder of Orr Immigration Law. He is also our resident expert on all things related to immigration and more. Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, though not so happy for people in Chicago. I was just sharing before the break that President Trump appears to be waffling on sending National Guard to Chicago. I don't think he's waffling. I think he's going to do it. It's just a matter of when. Governor Pritzker, of course, has said, do not come. What's your message for everyday folks in Chicago who are already on edge about these mass deportation efforts? What's your message to everyday people who are bracing for a surge in federal law enforcement in Chicago?
Right. So I think let's step back. I don't think the president actually has the power to put the National Guard on the ground in Chicago without immigration, based on the rulings that they just had in DC. So I think a lot of this has always been about the show and about the rollout and about the fear, right? Because he got a reaction from the governor, and now they're gonna have a back and forth with words. And are you threatening me? Are you not threatening me? The same thing he did with Governor Moore, saying Governor Moore said he was the best president ever. So he keeps this sort of conversation going in this sort of real world dialogue of who's going against who and who's battling who to make himself look like a victor. So know that that's part of the game. So I don't think he actually has the manpower, and I don't actually think the military would do it, right? The military has its own code of ethics with regards to what they can and cannot do with regards to United States citizens, even if ordered to do so. So, and that's expensive. And what we sort of see, in the background with the National Guard, this is expensive to deploy them because they have to leave their jobs and they're not getting paid for those jobs, and those jobs aren't being done. And now we understand that he's not even keeping them the full 30 days so they get reimbursed for their housing. He's just keeping them 29 days. So it's costing them money. So that's in the background for the cost. For the everyday person in Chicago, what you need to do is to be aware of your rights and not engage in any way. Exactly what the governor said. They are trying to provoke you. Do not be provoked. Use some of the joy that you've seen in DC, people dancing, people sort of having joyous moments. You don't have to, you can be involved in protests without actually going against them. And there's an actual pamphlet or flyer, at least from the ACLU, that says these are your rights with regards to protesting in almost every state, which means don't interfere with government, take pictures and record, have your sign, don't be in the way, don't obstruct, transportation or public movement if you can, so that you don't get arrested. But if you do choose to do those things, right, if you do choose to stand in the way, then have the bail or someone to call who's already ready to get you out of jail or to provoke you from those things. What I've asked, right, because I'm a lawyer, so I tell people they cannot violate the law because that is my lane. And so what you can do and always should do is be ready, recognize what's going on around you, record what's going on around you, right? Make sure you make a record, then report it. Every incident should be reported. Don't say, oh, it's minor, it doesn't matter. Every incident should be recorded because you don't know how many cases will build to lead you to have that redress that you need. And that's the next thing you have to do. After you make that report, if you have been injured by the law in any way, you have to sue. You have to sue at this point. If you get arrested in Chicago, you're a United States citizen, they did something inappropriate to your rights, you have to sue. It can't be you're just going to walk away. That's the only way the government's going to change the reaction of what they're doing. And then you have to repeat this whole process over and over again so that there's enough cases. The reason why the Brown versus the Board of Education worked is because Charles Hamilton Houston went around this country and he videotaped the different schools and made a record of the differences between the white schools and the black schools and how they were treated. So when he got into the courtroom and they were saying, oh, no, this doesn't exist, he said, no, wait, look here. So that is our way forward. Let's record the injustice because even this administration will not last forever. And you may have redress in the next administration because there's a statute of limitation on all of these things, which I think law enforcement should remind themselves of, that the president may have immunity on a lot of these actions, but they will not.
I mean, I think that's really helpful, and we want to make sure that folks always know their rights. Mm-hmm. I really think about the folks who were already struggling to make ends meet. As you know, engaging any attorney can be really expensive. It can also be very scary.
Yes.
And so, for folks who are just planning, and you've talked a lot about make a plan. For the folks who are out there making a plan and are trying to figure out, okay, if we need an attorney, where can we turn for the most affordable option?
Okay, so let's take some levels of saying if you need an attorney in general, right? So what do you need an attorney for? If you are someone who's documented in this country and you haven't violated the law, then what do you need an attorney for, in a sense, right? You need a general concept. And if something happens in the law, an attorney will be appointed to you. But in the day-to-day operations right now in Chicago or all these cities, and I too carry my passport when I'm round and about. Just carry your passport, resolve that issue. Not exactly the right way for law to operate, but let's avoid the conversation. Well, have the conversation if you don't need to. If you want to fight, then don't have your passport. Maybe get arrested on a violation of not having any documentations on you. Go through the court system, try to get a bail and all that stuff to sort of go through. Still, an attorney's probably not going to take your case because that's not the type of case an attorney's going to take when you just chose not to do something that could have been easily avoided, right? That's a jaywalking situation. If you are someone who's undocumented, then if you're an undocumented person in this country, you need to have sought legal help already. That is Catholic Charities, ACLU, Every Law School, and Immigration Clinic. As a lawyer who runs a business, people make decisions about what's important to them. So if your cable is on and you don't have an attorney, you're making bad decisions, right? If you're driving a really nice car and you don't have an attorney, you're making bad decisions. So you should put your money and your budget behind the things that are important to you. So therefore, if you are undocumented, now is the time to seek that professional help if you want to stay in this country, right? If you don't, then spend your money however you want to spend your money. But you can't spend your money on everything else and then expect an attorney to come to you and do aid for you for free when there are 11 million people who are undocumented in this country and only 17,000 lawyers that are available to help them. That's just a real conversation from me, right? This is not a pro bono profession where there are a lot of people who do pro bono work, but we need to understand that there is law involved in it. People went to law school, people have law degrees, and they need to be paid for it. If you don't have any money and you're doing all the right things and you're still undocumented, you will find places between Catholic Charities and some of the nonprofit groups who do a vetting of your profitability and the law, the bars of different states to get you into a clinic. The problem is there's so many individuals, they might not get to you in time. And that's really the problem that you sort of face at this moment of having that relay. While you have all of those things in the background going on, if you have children and you're undocumented and they're United States citizen children, or you have a home or car that you're not going to be able to take with you to deport it, you need to have some written document, preferably notarized, but definitely a written document with regards to what you want to happen to your children and what you want to happen to your real assets. Because if you wind up missing, the question becomes, then how are you going to get this stuff resolved? What's going to happen to your bank account? What's going to happen to your car? What's going to happen to your house if you've been here for 20 years and all of a sudden they're removing you? They should not be able to remove you from the United States quickly unless you cannot prove that you have not been here for 2 years. So if you're someone who's undocumented in this country and you've been here for more than 2 years, I would get a paper file together of all the documents to prove that I've been here for more than 2 years. What is that? Credit card receipts, phone bills, cable bills, rent receipts. If you pay taxes using a tax ID number, anything you can sort of establish, photos of you in different places, different hairstyles, all the things you have that sort of document how long you've been in this country, so that when you're in removal proceedings, someone can say, wait a minute, he can't get expedited removal or she can't get expedited removal because they have been here for longer than 2 years. So have your file together of your story.
I mean, that is super duper helpful, very practical advice in terms of where to go for legal services and also what to bring, along as you seek out support for your case. When we come forward, Alan, I want to get your take on a bit of good news that was made today. The LA Times reporting that the Trump administration cannot deny funding to Los Angeles and 30 other cities and counties because of sanctuary policies that limit their cooperation with federal immigration agencies. That's what a judge just ruled on Friday. Alan, you just alluded to this. For folks who are less familiar, the judge issued a preliminary injunction that expands restrictions that the court handed down in April that blocked funding cuts to 16 cities and counties, including San Francisco and Santa Clara, after federal officials classified them as sanctuary jurisdictions. I don't expect the president nor this administration to let up. We know that week before last, the chief of police in D.C. Succumbed to what some people thought was a pressure campaign on a policy where now the DC police is working with federal law enforcement when they encounter people who are undocumented. And so when we come forward, Alan, I want to get your take on that and this ruling by this judge. Is this something that's going to stick? Is it going to last? Or does the Trump administration live to fight another day? You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with immigration law expert Alan Orr when we come forward.
Y'all thing must be a little bit 2 minutes today. 2 minutes? I mean, I don't know. You follow my cues? Because when I said 2 minutes break, you was like, when we come forward. But it's maybe your computer's a little bit ahead. Also, I would ask him that question. Hey, man, he gonna say shit. That's why we didn't have immigration. Just what the immigration we all feel like very I like that. I like that. It's like serious. It's great.
According to the White House, 111 firearms have been seized and 6 known gang members have been arrested. And in January, Southwest Airlines is changing its seating policy. Larger passengers who cannot be accommodated in a single plane seat will be required to purchase a second seat ahead of time. If the extra room is not needed, a refund can be requested after the flight. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
A crash in Roland Heights on the 60 westbound before Fairway Drive. Looks like it should be off to the shoulder now. Delays are backing up away from Grand Avenue. Eastbound delays also from Fairway as you roll towards the 57. A stall in Santa Fe Springs, 605 northbound before Slauson. 2 middle lanes are blocked. Delays overall from the 105 in Anaheim Hills. Eastbound side of the 91, just past Weir Canyon. Looks like they've cleared a crash out of lanes. Delays backing up away from Kramer Glassell.
This season, San Diego's playing at home, and you are on the roster. Don't miss the Padres, Wave FC, San Diego FC, and the Blue Angels at the Miramar Air Show. Plan your trip now at sandiego.org/awesome all year. Funded in part with City of San Diego Tourism Marketing District Assessment Funds.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It's a special night tonight in New York City at the U.S. Open tennis tournament. Venus Williams, at age 45, will be the oldest woman to play in the U.S. Open in 44 years. Renee Richards was 47 when she played in the tournament in 1981. Williams, a 7-time Grand Slam champion, was given a wildcard invitation to play in the U.S. Open. The Compton native has a first-round matchup tonight against Karolina Muchova of Czechoslovakia. The 29-year-old Muchova was 4 when Venus won her first